Hey everybody, Shark Scrapper. Well, I have been promising to do a video on satellite receiver feed horns. Perhaps some people may think I was threatening. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some satellite feed horns. We'll do a couple. They're all going to be somewhat basically the same. But you'll notice right away, when you bust off the feed horn, if you look at, sometimes the edges are exposed. Here you can see some, looks like silver, silver indigo on that one. This one has gold. So we know that there's going to be some value here. Let's go ahead and get into these and find out what we're really dealing with. All right, now the feed horns will have a plastic covering. That's no big deal. You can even leave it on sometimes if you want. This part is going to be a cast aluminum. It's just a hollow cast aluminum. The energy comes in through it. The plastic is transparent to the energy. It comes through, and then these are waveguides to focus that energy on the receiving ends inside. Now, as you can see in this feed horn, sometimes the waveguides are casted with the body. Sometimes they're screwed on. All right, and then let's see what the hardware is. So the hardware is somewhat magnetic but shakes off, so that's going to be stainless. I'll check, the washers might be ferrous, so I'm going to set those aside and check those later on. Sometimes the washers are actually ferrous and the bolt or screw is stainless. All right, little O-ring right there. Should peel out pretty easily. And now you got some cast aluminum. All right, now, how do we get inside of this? The O-ring, this is going to be sort of glued in. It's more like an epoxy kind of thing. It's not an O-ring. And sometimes you can get in here and just pry that open. There we go. And you can see we've got a real nice board going in here. So once we get it started like that, then we can try to peel it up. And we got some alignments tool here. This can be really handy for doing this. Oh, I knew there was going to be a screw here sooner or later. So right there, there's a screw. Let's see how easily we can get to it and see what kind of screw it is. Yeah. So we probably have a screw there and there and there. But let's see if we can just bust those off. Let's see if that'll just pry off. Because this is just sheet aluminum, so a lot of times that'll just, you can just peel that right off and not have to mess with trying to get the screw out, because frequently the screw is going to have a lot of this sealant goobered up inside of it, making it hard to get a good seat for your bit. There we go. All right, now frequently this is sheet aluminum, but you want to check because, see, in this case it's tin. All right, now we have got a lot of little Torx heads in here, but I want to go ahead and show you we can see the boards already. Insulated copper wire. All right, so you can see that the boards have a lot of Enig or flashing, a lot of ICs, flat packs, crystals. Timing is very important in these things, so you can imagine that there's going to be some crystals in there. Caps, and then cast aluminum. So the challenge now is just that we have to do a lot of unscrewing of things to get all of the waveguide material off of the board material, and then we've got a lot of board material. Okay, well, let's move over to the computer workstation where I have a little bit finer type tools and get at these boards. Same size Torx as a lot of the hard drives are. Yeah, we got that board done. Here on this side, you can see that there is a lot of nice flashing on that side. Again, that's either going to be gold or silver. Hard to say in this light. So out in the sunshine, it's very easy to see that that's gold Enig. You keep hearing me refer to Enig, E-N-I-G. That's electroless nickel immersion gold. It's also soft gold plating. It's different than hard gold plating in that it's very thin and it's soft. Very thin as in 0.05 to 0.23 microns. That's a millionth of a meter. It is very, very thin. They use that when you don't have to have a lot of for a number of reasons, but one of the primary reasons is when you want to be able to get the connections, but you don't need to worry about things constantly sliding back and forth on the plating. So Enig, much thinner, and that's going to affect the price that we can get for these boards when we go to sell them, as you will see a little bit later in the video. See, got some screws hiding underneath of this stuff. So don't try to force it. If it doesn't come out real easy, then check. Now, those look really shiny and gold, but I'm thinking they're not. I'm thinking those are brass. I'm pretty sure those are just going to be brass there. They might be gold because they're tuners. So you can see those were located right over top of more gold Enig. So those might be gold plated. Those would be for tuning the system. So they might be gold plated. There's some more aluminum. And you can see the gold on this board now, the gold Enig on this board. My friend Scrapping Irish is probably hyperventilating at this point, I'm thinking. There we go. And the backside is completely gold flashed or Enig. You know, it's not going to be very thick, but for somebody like Scrapping Irish, this is a very nice board because there's a lot of gold for him to go after and not a lot of components to get in the way. Boy, I tell you what, after a while, trying to find these tiny little Torx heads and line them up, that'll really mess with your eyes after a while. And that one's even smaller. That might be a tuning. That actually looks like a Phillips, so that might be a tuning screw. Yeah. All right, so there's another nice board, and again, gold Enig all over the back. And this part was, you know, down like that. The energy would come into this waveguide, come in here, get focused in through this port, and then these were on here to tune it so that the signal was then picked up by the rest of the board. All right, now we still have one more board that's underneath of this piece of cast aluminum. And this board again has some nice gold plating, gold Enig on it. This looks copper, so that it just looks really coppery, but it really looks coppery up against this gold. That might be a gold plated pen that just looks really coppery because of where it is. This is copper here. That looks very coppery. We get that piece of insulating tape off. We have some flat packs. Here, another oscillator. What is that screw? Oh, that's just... So, and some wire. Some more wire. Get the wire off of there. Yeah, we'll get that copper off of there. So you can see, this I think might be gold-plated wire. I'm going to put that with my... I can't tell. It's a different color of gold than the gold Enig on the board. But, man, I'm just going to put it in with the gold plated. All right, now, there are also a lot of little tiny oscillators here, all gold edged. Really teeny tiny little things. Well, that was a real nice feed horn. Now, let's go do a single. This was it had one feed horn going in, but it had 3 branches on the feed horn. So I don't know if you call that a triple or a single. Again, we've got the cast aluminum body here, and then on the back we've got the sheet steel, and each one of these is a screw. And as you can see, they're pretty well covered up here. They've been sealed up to protect against the elements. It's a Torx, and with the plastic you know, in there like that, that's going to be really difficult to get a screw head in there and pull that out. So we're going to try my alternative method. You want to make sure that you have eye protection on. I like my little Dremel for this. It gives me much finer control than my larger Dremel. Now let's see if we can peel that back. So at this point, what I'm trying to do is just pop this off of the screws that are holding it, like that. There we go. There we're at. Now, that leaves those screws in place, but that's not that big a deal. This, we found out, was tin, right? So that'll go in with our tin shred. Now, getting these screws out now is actually a little bit easier because I can get hold of them and turn them easily now, so that when I want to clean up this aluminum, I can get at all of the screws. All right, now let's go over to the computer work area and get at, again, a plethora of torque screws. We'll see if the driver is got too much torque. It seems to be working fine. Just gotta make sure I got the bit in. It lets me know right away if I don't. Oh, yeah. That's a lot of screws. Okay, so there's another piece of cast aluminum. You can see this was like one big chunk of aluminum. Well, it wasn't like one big chunk. It was one big chunk, and then it got cut with the channels for the energy flow. Ooh, that's a Phillips head. Because this little screw here is a tuner screw, not a holding down screw. All right, so you can see in this board, like the other boards, it is got gold ink or plating all over it. More on this side. In fact, this side is entirely covered. Now, that's really beautiful, but the reality is it's not going to make you rich. However, if you're into the gold processing, this is a beautiful board to find because there aren't that many components on it, and it doesn't have masking over a lot of the gold, so you can really go to town on getting your gold off of this one. Well, as you can see, there are good reasons to go after satellite feed horns. They can be a little bit fiddly, as my friend E-Waste Ben would say, but there's some nice gold ink on those boards. I checked with Chris at boardsort.com, and he told me that he buys these satellite feed horns as peripheral high grade, and right now that's $2.60 a pound. Don't know what it's going to be when you see this video. Your local yard might get swayed by the gold and buy them as high grade, depending upon their experience level. And of course, if you're into the processing and refining yourself, then you're going to process these. Even though the gold is thin, it's still easy to get at. So all in all, it's a pretty fun and relatively easy scrap to go after. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the satellite feed horn scrap out. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That's going to be that little round icon that's coming up in the middle of the two, can I do that? The two Links taking you to more of my e-waste scrapping videos. Have a great day, everybody.